Hello, 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 everyone. Hello, YouTubers. This is Anonymous T. Hope you're having an amazing day today. So today we have a reaction, a not happy reaction from Megan Thee Stallion, because there's still a lot of criticism after this morning's Gayle King interview aired with Megan Thee Stallion. And so she did a tweet and delete in a quoted response to a fan who said the following. Who said, "Crazy how Meg gets to speak on whomever platform or song about the situation, but Tory, and then he goes to jail, being it's still an open investigation." So Meg Thee Stallion, this was around 10:23 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, that she did a post and delete and said, "So a man can shoot me, chop up horse legs in music videos to taunt me, pay blogs to spread false information from what's happening in court, record studio albums and make diss tracks, but when I talk to Gayle King, that's the last straw." And then she says, excuse my language, bleep y'all. So once again, so a man can shoot me, chop up horse legs in music videos to taunt me, pay blogs to spread false information from what's happening in court, record studio albums and make diss tracks, but when I talk to Gayle King, that's the last straw, bleep y'all. So here's the thing. The problem that some people have and why I feel there's so much division is there's been inconsistencies on both sides of the story, right? So there's an issue of transparency, there's an issue of credibility, and it's not an issue about protect Black women, you guys, because here's the thing. We just went through the whole situation with Juicy Smollett, right? Where initially it was a very convincing, story that happened, and then we found out he lied to us, right? And he did the big network interview and everything else. And I think with some of the inconsistencies, like I thought the reason for the fight was because her and Tory had a sexual relationship, because there was some jealousy because he was involved with her friend. And then they started sleeping together. I'm 99.9% sure I've, heard that at multiple places. And then also the text message that was revealed today is like 3 hours after said incident took place, which would have had everybody, I don't know. Everyone would have been in jail at that time or at the prison cell or whatever. So I feel like that's why a lot of people are kind of frustrated and why there's some backlash, because there's people who, like I said in a previous video, who know the court documents and what was said in them inside and out. And they're comparing notes based off of everything that's transpired over the past couple of years from both sides. And there's inconsistencies, right? And, now the hospital no longer has the fragments or the x-rays or what have you. And then the DNA is inconclusive. So people have questions. And people just want to have all of the facts before we immediately, go in. And I think that's where people are struggling, right? There's some people who are team Meg Thee Stallion. There's some people who are team Tory Lanez. And then there's some people who are in the middle who are like, okay, but you said this morning, but you said this a couple months ago. Oh, but then you did this. But then an eyewitness is saying this happened. You're saying he shot from the window in this interview, but you said previously your back was turned, you couldn't tell. Like where, so that's why people are, feeling a certain type of way. That is why there is some backlash on some of these blogs regarding this particular interview. And not to mention, people have their own separate issues with Gayle King anyways, with, certain interviews that she does with people. And I'll just leave it at that, right? Because some people feel that she's out to get Black men, or she has like a certain agenda or this and that. And I just hope that Megan didn't try to fool anybody or pull wool on anybody's eyes because it is going to be a huge disaster if come September there's something out there that basically refutes what she told us today. Some sort of receipt. So I am just hoping that that is the case, because keep in mind, Megan is still with Rock Nation, right? Who's in charge of Rock Nation? Jay-Z, right? So I would just hate for, this to come out to be false information, to gain sympathy or what have you, and completely flip the narrative. And then we get a couple months from now and we find out that we were bamboozled, we were lied to, we were led astray. And I think that's the concern that people have in this 24-hour social media era, right? Is obviously if Tory Lanez really did shoot Meg Thee Stallion, obviously people aren't going to be, supporting that or big upping that or what have you. But if Megan lied, or even if her friend shot or whoever, that's going to be huge, you guys. And another thing to note is I'm noticing no major celebrities who previously were backing Meg, were previously publicly supporting Meg Thee Stallion, they have been pretty quiet, which is also a red flag to me, because wouldn't you have the public support, of your label, of Jay-Z, of your management company? You've worked with Beyonce, like you have all of these big name celebrity A-list connections, and nobody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about it, you guys. Now, there's some reality stars, or some people who are blue checks, but they're not A-listers. A few people here and there that are leaving comments like on the Shade Room and It's On Site in the Neighborhood Talk, but they're not like your major celebs who would be in the know, who would know Meg Thee Stallion personally and would have something to say. All we've heard in regards to the big name celebrities as it pertains to Meg Thee Stallion, as the last few months or so, major celebs have been unfollowing her on social media. So I don't understand, if that has anything to do with this case, if they're trying to distance themselves from her because of this case, or because of something, a smoking gun that we haven't, received yet that's going to come out, or if there's a separate issue that is happening in the industry that people are separating themselves. And also I found it very interesting. I don't know if you guys watched The Breakfast Club, but they really weren't saying anything one way or the other either, which I found very surprising, because they're pretty plugged in with celebrities as well. And I didn't get confidence from their segment discussing this case, which was interesting. Charlemagne was of very few words. Angela Yee was kind of like, well, we'll just have to see what happens, which is very bizarre in a case of a magnitude as this, you guys. So all of those things are like red flags to me, right? The lack of celebrity support, the trajectory these major blogs and stations are taking on this, and then most importantly, the inconsistencies that keep happening to where it has people questioning, okay, what is true, what isn't true, right? And I feel like that's where a lot of people are at this standstill, but I don't feel that Meg Thee Stallion is making matters better by making tweets like this, right? Because here's the thing, here's the thing at the end of the day, right? There's no such thing as everybody's going to like you. There's no such thing as everybody's going to believe you no matter what, right? Like I said, there's still people who, support R. Kelly, right? No matter what. There's still people who support different people. So you're not going to convince the world, a certain narrative just because you did an interview with Gayle King. There's still going to be people who are skeptical. And then if people find holes in your interview that they can use against you, or they can use against you during the trial, that's a red flag for them, because it's like, okay, this part of the interview could be plausible, but this part of the interview we know is a blatant lie. And that's where people are coming in, and it's like, okay, well, which is it? Which is the truth? There are some discrepancies here. And it's nothing about trying to take down a black woman or shame a black woman or anything of that nature. We just want the facts. And that's really all it is. We want the facts so we can have an accurate take. We can have an accurate opinion on this case. So we can stop the back and forth. And we can stop the subliminals. And we can stop all of the random stuff that keeps coming out as a distraction and just different narratives that are being pushed. That's all we want. And it's, so I'm glad she deleted the tweet, but it didn't need to be tweeted in the first place, right? Because people already feel a certain way about Gayle King to begin with, right? So, so there's that. But to have inconsistencies on top of it when people are already skeptical in terms of what the facts are of this case, that didn't do anybody any favors. And that's all people have to say about that, right? And that's really where we are when it's all said and done. But let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments. What do you guys think of this tweet? What do you guys think of Meg Thee Stallion, being upset with people who are, having some criticisms of her, doing an interview with Gayle King? And I find it funny. I don't think this was the last straw from people. I think people had a last straw before this interview. So it's like, I just think she's just seeing more of the backlash now because for 2 years, we've had access to everything. We've had access to the court records. We've had access to all of, things that Meg Thee Stallion has said versus all the things that Tory Lanez has said. So people are comparing notes. People are fact checking everything and comparing one thing against the other. And then that's why they are having the reactions that they're having. It's nothing personal. This isn't stan culture. People just want the truth. That's really all this boils down to. People just want the truth so that we can move forward with this case, and hopefully this case is done for good and in September with whatever comes, right? So that's where we are. But please let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments. What do you guys think of this tweet? And Megan deleting it. Let me know what you guys think. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you're notified the moment I post new content on my channel. And with that being said, I'll talk to you guys again very soon.